We're pleased to be joined by West Bloomfield Township Trustee Howard Rosenberg once again on the Oakland County Megacast. Trustee Rosenberg, thank you for being with us today.
Good morning. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate having you on. It's been a while since we've last spoke. How have you been since we last talked?
We've been well. We've been healthy. Everybody in the family is good. Thank you for asking.
Good to hear. Always good to hear that. The Township Board continues to be hard at work on a variety of township issues. Regular meetings throughout the township are back in place. They're all virtual, but all the boards are still meeting and things are moving forward on the township level. But there's still an emphasis on preventing the spread of COVID-19 in West Bloomfield. How closely have the board members been working with the various departments at West Bloomfield Township and all throughout the community on a county level to ensure that we are continuing to work hard to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in an area that previously, early on in the pandemic especially, was a bit of a hotbed for the coronavirus?
Well, as you said, Tyler, everybody is concerned about it. Everybody is aware of it. It is a scary virus because individual outcomes are unknown. You have a woman who was 103 years old that fully recovered, and a young woman in her 20s that had to have a double lung transplant. So it's a serious problem. And because of that, we are all paying really close attention to making sure that we adhere to all the safety issues that we should be. Wearing a mask, maintaining distance, keeping sanitized. Our fire department led the initial controls in the Emergency Operations Center. We were fortunate. We had very few people. We had nobody get sick, really. Currently, we are working under strict conditions, and we are still staying healthy and keeping everybody in the community healthy. Our numbers are way down in the township.
It's really been a great effort on all parts, from the township level to different various organizations in the community, especially our first responders. We talked with Steve Kaplan, the township supervisor, earlier on in the week, and I'll ask you the same question I asked him. Talk about the work that's been done by our first responders, by our police department and our fire department in educating the community and continuing to educate the community on prevention tactics as well as protecting the community from further spread of COVID-19.
You know, I can do that, but the guy to ask is Deputy Chief Kurt Lawson. He was a public liaison, and he has a laundry list of things that they have done on social media and on your broadcast and through Civic Center TV and radio, mailings. So we have created, frequently asked questions. We've made available disinfectant products if people need them. We've made available personal protection equipment if people need them. We've created a situation where we can bring people food if they've needed it. So we have made sure that every resident in the community was aware of what they needed to do to keep themselves safe and what we could do to help them keep themselves safe.
Howard Rosenberg with us on the Oakland County Megacast. He is a West Bloomfield Township Trustee. With us on the show today, we're joined by a variety of community television and radio stations as we continue to bring you local updates on COVID-19. And Howard, we recently spoke with Bill Anderson from SEMCOG about municipal funding and how municipalities are going to be budgeting not only for the continuation of this year and how things may change, but going into the future as it's not going to necessarily be this year in 2020, but into 2021, 2022, and so on, that our municipalities are going to see the effects of COVID-19 on a fiscal level. West Bloomfield Township's been working really hard on preparing for those kinds of situations. How is the Township Board communicating to make sure that as you're approaching budget planning season, that you're keeping in mind the impacts of COVID-19 are maybe not going to be seen immediately, but down the road?
We do this regularly. Remember, Tyler, we were through the 2008 Great Recession, where property values dropped 40% almost overnight for the first time since World War II. People understood that there was a problem coming, but nobody understood the extent to the problem. And we got through that. And I was on the town board. Steve was on the town board. Terry Weingarten was on the town board at the time. And we got through that without having to lay off anybody or cut anybody's pay. There was a brief furlough of the non-uniformed people for a short time, but other than that, with shared sacrifices between the union and between our ability to cut budget and unnecessary things. I mean, it wasn't that they were unnecessary. We just pushed them back. We just didn't do them. We had to get them done, and we're beginning to get them done again. But we pushed off buying new equipment. We pushed off buying. We made our fire trucks last another year, so on. So we've been through this, and so we're facing something again that even if it becomes as bad, we're sure we can handle it. We're slowing down our capital spending. We're looking at everything right now. Our assessor, Rob Scripture, does a fantastic job of projecting things. We have a running 10-year projection of our budget that we always look at, and we have a rolling 2-year budget. So we're well positioned to know where we are and not be caught short. Our legacy costs are well funded. Our retirement funds are well funded. Our OPEB, our other post-employee benefit funds are well funded. So the township is in good shape financially and can withstand whatever drop we may have.
Howard Rosenberg with us. He's a West Bloomfield Township Trustee with us on the Oakland County Megacast. In addition, Howard is also a docent at the Detroit Institute of Arts. And we talked to you previously on in the pandemic about the DIA moving a lot of those classes and services to being virtual, and you were involved in some of those events as well. The DIA has since reopened. Have you been back down there providing your docent services? Are you still going virtual? A little bit of both. How is it different, the experience now for visitors as they're coming back to the DIA?
So Tyler, how many questions can you put into one sentence?
All of them.
I got you. Yes, the answer to the question is yes, I've been back down to the DIA. No, I have not been back down as a docent. Volunteers are not part of the reopening of the DIA. So let me tell you first what, for your viewers and listeners, what the DIA is doing right now in terms of visitor safety. First of all, you need to make a reservation to get into the DIA. It's free, but you need to make a reservation. For all residents in Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb County, there's no charge. But you do need to go to the dia.org website, and you need to make a reservation for a time you want to enter. And you can make a reservation every half hour. And once you're in there, you can stay in there as long as you want. They have limited hours, 9 to 4 on weekdays, I believe, and 10 to 5 on weekends. They're not open late anymore on Fridays. There's no food service. All the restrooms are available, and it's a touchless experience. I got to tell you, I felt safer at the DIA than I do in as safe as I do in my own house. When you walk in, you're scanned by a thermal reader to determine that you're not running a temperature. You're asked questions, and you must wear a mask. You're not going to be allowed entry if you're not in a mask. You can stay close to the group you're with, but you have to maintain the 6-foot distance with anybody else. If you have to touch anything, if you want to ride an elevator, there's a staff member there to push the button for the elevator. If you want to open a door to get into a gallery, there's a staff member there to open the door for you. All galleries are one way in, one way out, so you're not crossing over anybody. But you can feel free to walk through to any gallery you want. So staff has been redeployed, paid staff has been redeployed to handle that. When they're allowing 75 people in every half an hour. So their total volume of people will be 20% of the normal amount of people. You will feel very comfortable going down there. They have food trucks outside if you want to eat anything. Same rules, don't touch anything. no food, no beverage allowed in the galleries. Now, as far as the second question, virtual, yes, we're still doing virtual. We developed a virtual interactive program in order to continue touring. So it's called Thursdays at the Museum. You can get on it by going onto the West Bloomfield Parks website. They carry a link. Every Thursday at 1 o'clock, we will present a different theme of pieces from the DIA. And as the audience member, you can ask questions. You can't speak, but you can type in your questions and we'll answer your questions. So that's one thing. The DIA has pivoted staff-wise to having virtual training for teachers, virtual workshops for students. Their entire education programs are now online. So teachers can reach out to the DIA to schedule virtual educational programs once they're back in their virtual classroom.
Howard, just another minute or so with you. Anything else you'd like to talk about today before we let you go?
No, I listened to Coach Bellamy. He's very impressive. I'm excited for the students. I'm hoping that everybody stays safe. I appreciate you having me on here. I'm pleased that of what the MegaCast is doing. All of you are doing a wonderful job keeping us informed, and I appreciate that. And if there's anything else I can do to help you, feel free to call on me.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much for being with us today, Howard.
My pleasure.
Appreciate having you on. Howard Rosenberg, West Bloomfield Township Trustee and DIA docent volunteer with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.